let's take a look at our top selections for Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The feature race at Aqueduct on Saturday is race number 8. Let's throw up the field for the $100,000 Gravesend Stakes. We're going 3/4 of a mile. Only a field of 5, but a pretty competitive bunch, Mike. And what do you do with the number 1 Happy Farm, who for 5 prior trainers never got out of the non-winners or 2 other than ranks? Jason Service took this horse over, turned him into a graded stakes winner. Well, Service is out of the game, and now this horse returns for Linda Rice off a long layoff.
Yeah, and in some ways, I guess he's the key to the race, Dan, because he looks like the speed from the rail. Your question was, what do I do with him? I probably play against him. We'll see what happens here. We'll see what kind of price he is, too. Linda Rice is in a pretty tough position with this horse, not only coming back off the layoff, but, having to try to improve on or keep this horse at the same level that Service had him at.
We haven't seen this horse since March the 7th. Mike mentioned he could be the lone speed. Timeform US agrees. It's a blue bar scenario, which could favor horses on or near the early lead. And if Happy Farm returns in the Jason Service form with this sort of pace scenario, boy, he's going to be tough.
He definitely is. I got to be honest, Dan, even when he was, running all those good races for Service, I wasn't necessarily sold on him. But it's hard to argue with the results that he was getting when we last saw him.
Well, let's watch his last race, the Grade 3 Tom Fool Handicap, way back on March the 7th. And he's got a big lead, turning into the stretch of the 6 furlong race. And Happy Farm is going to get run down by Mind Control, who's a nice horse in his own right. This race didn't come back very strong, but boy, how does he lose from here?
He does look home free at this point. You're going to see him start to get, sort of noticeably tired, I think, at the end of this race, Dan. He just can't hold off Mind Control. Now, it's not, a disgrace to get run over by Mind Control late in this race. Mind Control is a multiple Grade 1 winning sprinter. When he's right, he's very, very good.
Now, I mentioned that this race was at 6. It's 6.5 the Gravesend, so he's going to have to stretch his speed another half a furlong, which he's done successfully in the past. Happy Farm, though, has only raced once since December of 2019. The number 2, Drafted, is making his second start off of a long layoff. He ran in the fall high weight last time out. He passed some tired horses. It was his first race off a long benching. He can move forward, but he looks like the kind of horse that needs some pace, and he might not get it.
Yeah, I don't know if this race is going to set up well for him. And it feels like, just based on his overall form, Dan, that he would need some help to beat this field. He ran fine, I guess, in the fall high weight. Another race that maybe didn't set up that well for him. He was making up ground at the end, though.
Pete's Play calls the number 3. He's a really honest horse. He's won 13 times in his career, including this race, an optional claimer at Aqueduct on November the 27th. He was claimed out of this race by Rudy Rodriguez, and this race came back pretty live. The 6th place horse came back to score with a 96 buyer.
Yeah, this race was pretty live. This horse is in very good form right now, Pete's Play call. He's a really, sort of old-timing, hard-hitting kind of horse. He's not really a stakes horse. But he's just really good and really consistent. He's got tactical speed. Off the claim for Rudy's never a bad thing. There are things to like about this horse. We'll see what kind of price he goes off at.
I really liked my Boy Tate last time out. We're going to take a look at that race, the New York Stallion Series. I thought he got a great trip. Tracking a rank outsider from the outside. He makes the lead turning into the stretch, and I'm thinking to myself, there's no way my Boy Tate can lose here. Well, I underestimated Funny Guy, who's just a really good New York bred, was odds on in this race, and Funny Guy is just going to get up over my Boy Tate, and Bankit, who runs 3rd, came back to win the Alex Robb with a 98 buyer.
Yeah, we were in the same boat in this race. Then I liked my Boy Tate in here too, and I thought he was a winner in mid-stretch there. He ran well in that race. You're right, he got a good trip. But he did have to turn away Bankit when that horse made the first move at him, which he did pretty readily there. And as you mentioned, Funny Guy's just a really nice horse. I thought my Boy Tate ran well in there. I realized that, since they come back from that long layoff with him in November of 2019, his only win is when they shipped him out to Parks to win an allowance race. But to me, his overall form, even in New York, is very strong. This horse is a major player in here.
The figures certainly say it. He's earned 96 buyers in his last 2 races. A horse that certainly fits from a class standpoint. It's the number 5, Stan the Man. Let's watch his most recent race where he was a rallying second in the Grade 3 fall high weight behind the speedy Share the Ride, who simply got the jump on Stan the Man. We see him down towards the inside. He's going to try to get some optimal clearance. He does get out very late in the game, and he's going to come with a good, determined run. He has more tactical speed than he showed in this race, and I think he could work out a decent trip tracking while in the clear.
Yeah, he can't afford to get too far away this time. I think that was the problem in this race that we're watching right now, the Fall Highway, Dan. He just got too far away early, and then he couldn't make up the ground late. But all in all, I thought he ran well once he got in that race. And then, I mean, if you go back to the Tail of the Cat 3 starts back, which was his prior sprint start, I mean, that's the kind of the race that points him out. And here, I think, anyway, it just sort of felt like that day, and my boy Tate was in there too. It just felt like Stan the Man was too good for those horses. And I wonder if that might not be the case here.
And let's take a look at our top picks for the Gravesend Stakes. Mike's going with Stan the Man again. Certainly fits from a class perspective. He ran over my boy Tate in the Tail of the Cat. I'm hoping that my boy Tate can get a little bit of a trip, a similar trip as last time. I know Timeform US has him third off of Happy Farm. I'd like to see him right off Happy Farm, because if Happy Farm doesn't stay off the layoff, maybe my boy Tate inherits the lead one more time. He's got to prove he can do it against non-New York bred competition. Mike's going 5-4-3-1. I'm going 4-1-5-3. It's the $100,000 Gravesend. Your feature race in Aqueduct is 6.5 furlongs as an approximate post of 350 Eastern. Good luck.